In this video, I'm going to be taking you through my entire brand design process using a brand brief from ChatGPT. This allows you to strengthen your abilities but also provide top quality work for your portfolio. That being said, let's get started. Research is the first step in any branding project. When working with a client, this can actually take you weeks to complete. It helps you understand competitors, popular color scheme, and design elements that make your brand stand out. For inspiration, my go-to is Pinterest because it has a huge collection of images from other creative designers, but remember the goal isn't to copy, it's to gather ideas to fit your project. Look for things like packaging design, patterns, logos, and typography that match the brand brief you're working on. To organize everything, I use Militone to create mood boards and store client details. It keeps everything neat in one place, but if you prefer, you can also keep everything in Illustrator. Just go with whatever works for you. Now that I've finished the research and mood board phase, it's time to find the right fonts to match the mood board style that I've chosen. I usually use Adobe Fonts, which comes free with an Adobe subscription. If you don't have that, Google Fonts and freefaces.gallery are great free options. If you're willing to invest a little bit, Envato Elements has a huge collection of fonts and other design resources. This phase is one of my favorites because it's where you take all the research and everything you've done before and you start bringing it all together. I'll be taking you through how I customize text and how I create custom icons and patterns to make your brand stand out. Let's start with the text. First, you're going to hold Alt and Shift on your keyboard and just drag it down. This is going to make a duplicate. You also want to turn this into an outline. So what you're going to do is go to Type, Create Outlines, or you can do Shift Control O. Then you want to right click on the layer and go to Ungroup. This will allow you to select every letter and change it accordingly. In this case, we can just do a rectangle to connect the E and the D, and then we can just go to Pathfinder and merge them together. However, let's say we didn't have this option of using a rectangle. All you need to do is come and get the pencil tool, and this will allow you to design custom shapes. In this case, let's do something that swerves up and it connects the E that way to the D. And essentially you can do this with any letter and create custom text. Another thing is if I'm trying to make a straight line, it's sometimes really hard to do with the mouse, but Illustrator actually really helps you out, and they gave you a smooth tool which allows you to smoothen out the lines that you've created, which gives the illusion that I'm able to create very nice lines. Now I'm going to show you guys how to edit this icon right here, and it pretty much will teach you the essentials in order to make your own icon. If you look closely though, you still notice that there's some shapes here that need to be cut out, because right now you can see that if we add a background and change the color of the shapes, it's not going to match, and this isn't what we want to deliver to the client. So in order to fix this, I'm going to duplicate this layer, and then we're going to come to Object and we're going to click on Expand Experience. And then we're going to go again to Object and click Expand. This essentially makes all the selection shapes and allows us to select and edit each one individually. Now while we have everything selected, we're just going to get the shape builder tool, and then this essentially is the masterpiece we're going to need for whenever making icons. You can see that on the mouse there's a little plus, and this essentially is going to merge the layers that we draw. However, if we hold Alt on our keyboard, you can see that it's a minus, and this essentially means it's going to remove everything that we select. Once you've finished removing all the shapes that you didn't want there anymore, you're going to notice that some of them are still there but behind the shape. This is very simple to do. All you need to do is go to Pathfinder once again, and then you need to select this icon right here, which is going to merge everything together. And then we're going to bring the circle once more to the icon. We're going to right click it, go to range, and then we're going to send it to back. This just means that the icon is going to come forward and it's going to be above the layer of the circle. Lastly, I'm going to show you guys how to create a pattern to make your brand stand out compared to your competitors. It's very simple to do, and all you want to do is create a small pattern like you're seeing on screen right now. Then you want to select everything, go to Object, and then go to Pattern, and make sure you click on Make. Then within this square that you're seeing right here, you can then play around and move the shapes that you have to create patterns on the outside. Essentially everything that you see on the outside is going to be part of the pattern, so you want to keep everything in the square just so you have a nice pattern. Once you're done, you just have to go on the top left and click Done. The next thing you want to do then is go and get a shape, and then you want to go to your swatches and select the pattern that you just created. Let's say you want to change the color of this pattern. You want to duplicate the pattern that you just created so that you can keep the red one that we just made here, and now we're going to create one that's a different color. So what we're going to do is select the whole pattern, and then we're just going to change the color here, and then again we're going to click Done. Now we have two different options, one that's red and another one that's pink. Alright, now let's talk about bringing our brand to life. This is where mockups come in handy. They give your clients a real-world visualization, which essentially helps you sell the brand to the client. For this project, I was asked to create a packaging for burgers, fries, and their drinking cup. There are a few websites that I recommend as a graphic designer where you can get free mockups such as mockupworld.co, creatoom.com, mrmockup.com, mockups-design.com, and lastly, goodmockups.com. And with that being said, I'm going to use this mockup that I found from one of the websites, and you're going to need to do this in Photoshop just because all the layers are in Photoshop most of the time when it comes to mockup. A quick rundown: you have the contrast, which usually is effects that get added to make it look more realistic. Then you have the actual mockup, which you'll have the top layer, you'll have the center layer, and then you'll have the bottom. Let's say we want to change the center boxes. We're going to click on this arrow here and it's going to bring down another menu. And then you have the left box, you have the center box, and the right box. Let's just edit the center one just so that you guys can see how it works, and then you can repeat the process for all the other designs. I'm going to include this mockup as well in the description so you guys can follow along if you would want to with your own design. To make it easy for you guys to see, I recolored it to red so that you guys can follow along properly. Then we have the center, which is this big one right here. We then have the right, the left, and the front. So let's say we want to edit the center, which is the big part on the top. We're just going to bring down the arrow again, and then it's going to say your design. You're going to see this icon here and you want to double click this. Once you double click it, you're going to be brought to this type of thing right here, and this is where you create your design. So for instance, let's just delete these two things right here, and then we're going to go back to our Illustrator and get the assets that we need. In this case, I want the top of the box to be white, but we have to make sure that we stay on brand with the colors that we chose. So for instance, we have the white that we used here on the branding. We're going to just look at the color that we used, and we're going to take the hex code and then go back to Photoshop, and we can change the color here just like that. If you guys don't have a change color, all you have to do is come to this icon right here, and then you're going to see solid color. This will allow you to change the color, and then you can also edit it later on at any time. Once that's done, I also want to add a red icon, so we're going to add one, and we're going to place it where we think it looks good. Then I want to add a pattern, and the best way to do that is to know the dimensions of the rectangle that you're seeing here, which is right here, 1184 pixels. So we're going to come back, and then we're going to make a shape, and we're going to copy the same dimensions for the shape. And then again, we're going to select the shape, and then we're going to go to the swatches of the color that we want. In this case, let's go with the red one. Now you can see that we have a pattern here. Once that's done, you can then just click File and Save. Make sure you don't do save as, or it's not going to work for the mockup. Once you've saved, you actually already edited the mockup on the other side, just like you're seeing here. And that's exactly how you guys do mockups. That's how I created this branding for Stacked Burger. Thank you for watching, and if you guys learned anything from this video, make sure to leave a like and comment what you'd like to see on the next video.